Good morning. How are you?
Wonderful winning Wednesday, Regina. I am dragging. I'm gonna get out
Okay,
and you
well,
go
you know
ahead.
what? Go on and put me on in. Go on and put me on in. How you doing? How you guys doing this morning? I'm so thankful to be here. As you can see, we're having maybe just a little bit of technical difficulties, but that's never stopped nobody, ever, never stopped nobody. It's not gonna stop us. But I am very thankful to be here with you guys. How you doing, Patricia? Good morning. Hey, Sparkle. You know what? We're out here sun shining. I'm glad to see you, sis.
Good morning, good morning. It is time. Regina, go on and do your thing. You was
Well, you
already
know
showing
what?
up, showing out.
Let me tell you what. I'm in the place where I just flow. I just flow. I do like things to flow right, but hey, just enjoy the ride. Whatever God has for us is going to have for us. We're not going to be sitting here getting stressed out, and we're going to empower each other. This is why we're here on today, so we can be empowered by Empowered Mornings, which is a blessing to all of us because we are growing daily. Our mindset is growing daily. We're thriving uh, in a place where people want you to fail because we have chosen to take the mindset what is that, you know what, I'm going to seek my greatness at all times and whatever I do in your own lane. Don't be mixing yourself up because you're unique. You can't be, because you're going to start getting in the wreck. But if you stay in your own lane and you're thriving, and your sister next to you is staying in her own lane and she's thriving, a lot of times what it is it's just the spirits that connect.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I can't verbally, but our spirits are saying, you know what, I'm over here grinding, and I know my sister grinding. Lord, just give us the grace. Give the ambitious women grace and mercy as they're, because it ain't easy out here. Come on, Sparkle Town. Is it easy to be
It ain't
ambitious?
easy.
It's that God race, grace, God's race. No, it's not easy, but honey, it's worth it. It's worth it. It looks good. And we can make it look real easy. Despite it all. I love that God don't make everything look like what you're going through. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have, or what you've been through. Now, sometimes it's harder to hide it than it is other times.
Right.
But that's okay. When you can't hide it, don't hide it. Just look. I need a break. I need you to
Right.
like.
There's nothing
I'm
to
so,
hide. Just be real, because you know what? It takes too much effort to live
yes.
a life. I
It
don't have that kind of
does.
energy.
But Patricia in
Wasting
the
the energy.
house, like we love to see names.
Right.
It gives you a different kind of run when you
Yeah.
see familiar names, when you see
Mm-hmm.
new names, when
Uh-huh.
you see names, and it tells you God is on your, like God has anointed you to do it. Even if you don't see no names, it's okay. You have to go into every day
Right.
as your best day.
Right.
Come
Yesterday is
on.
gone. So let's go on and make Tuesday jealous of Wednesday because it's winning Wednesday. And why not win? Why not win in every episode? Don't argue back and forth with people. You too old and you too blessed to sit there and go back and forth with somebody. I mean, like, it's
Right.
Exactly. Like really, you really like you're gonna try to. We're past getting out of our character.
yes. But
Exactly.
but they push that button. They like, and you're like, God is good. God is
All the
good.
time.
Yes, all the time.
Good
Sweet
morning,
about it, honey. You
wealthy.
don't have to be all mean and nasty, child. Listen, get up and you may be tired and you may be dragging, but guess what? You can
Yeah.
continue on through your day, and as you go, it gets better. You know, what's that little Christmas thing when we put one foot in front of the other? Just keep moving forward. You know, don't
Yes,
let somebody
kid.
take you backwards. Don't let
Nope.
somebody take you off course. Don't let somebody make you second guess you.
That's
Yes.
it.
Have
Oh,
the
that
confidence and the
second guess
boldness
you.
in you.
Yes. Cynthia said,
Period.
good morning, wealthy, willing, winning
That's
Wednesday.
what I'm
Now,
talking
if
about.
them
Hey,
are some
I'll take
W's
all
for
those.
you.
Oh, babe,
I'll
I
take
know
all
that's
those.
right. Cynthia Lewis has been knocking it out of the box. You hear me? Ever since she had a birthday, she has showed out. She's
Yes.
coming behind with all these good words, getting us encouragement, getting us
Exactly.
kind of started on our day. But Regina, we got a guest today. Come on
Yes.
and
Come on.
introduce her.
Oh well, let me tell you something. This lady, she has a beautiful spirit, you guys. I needed to bring her on. Number one is because she was part of my journey in sacred healing. I was telling her that the how I met her years ago, about 3.5 years ago, 3.5 years ago, before I came on Empowered Mornings.
Wow.
Met her in November. I was on with you in January. On
Right.
that day, I went to an expo, an all women's expo, and that day I put my seed in for sacred healing. So I was sowing seed into businesses in there because I knew that I was going to connect with who I wanted to connect to. Because if I sowed that seed, that was already official. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so
Mm-hmm.
when I met her, she was standing there with poise, and she just had she didn't even have to say anything. It was just something about her. So it drew me to her table. And you know me, you guys know me, I move quick, right? So I'm gonna get
Right.
what I need to get, and I did get what I needed to get. Saved her information, and a reel came over, the one that I sent you. It came. It just came on my page, and I said, okay, this is it. This is it. It's this is how I wanted to go ahead and bring her on. But she's part of my journey with sacred healing and be in connection of the foundation that I put. And I wanted her to introduce you guys to her because she's a phenomenal woman. And we're gonna go ahead and bring her on so you guys can hear what she has to say. How you
Yeah.
doing, Marlene?
I am great. Good morning, everyone. Thank
I
you
hope I didn't mess
so
it
very
up. I
much,
hope I didn't
ladies.
mess it up, girl. I hope I did it
No, you're
right.
good. You're fantastic. No worries. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, yes, yes. So you guys, welcome, Miss Marline Duroseau. Okay, she's gonna come on here. She's going to give you some insight. She's gonna give you some hope. She is going to tell her story at the most truth because it's something that she's lived. We welcome you.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Well, Marlene, go ahead and let us know a little bit. I got author on the screen, so we know you're an author, but I know it's so much more than that. Let everybody know a little bit about just who you are and what you do.
Yes, absolutely. Again, thank you so very much for having me. My name is Marline Duroseau. I was born and raised in sunny Miami, Florida. I am a child of Haitian immigrants. So with that, I always have to bring in education because us immigrant
Yes.
folks, if our parents don't do anything else, they're going to preach to us about the value of an education. So with that, education is very important to me. I and currently work as a CFO for my company. I've been there for 22 years. That's Chief Financial Officer. And I like to inspire people because I started off in college as the payroll lady, and I was able to work my way up through the ranks and become CFO. But I didn't do it alone. It was through mentorship and having so many different people that believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself, to
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and keep pushing. So a little bit about what I do now. Yes, I am the CFO of the company, but I also ended up starting my own company, which
Wait a
is
minute, you
also
just
how.
fast forward the CFO. We go. Wait a minute. Wait.
You
Slow
must
it
go
down,
ahead,
slow it
Sparkle.
down.
Go ahead, Sparkle. Come on, Sparkle.
I mean, she didn't say I'm the director. She said CFO. Okay,
Yes.
I had to make sure they could soak that part in.
That's
Yes,
all of that greatness.
Yes, that
yes.
she
I
started from a payroll and
Come
now
on
yes,
she
now,
is
see?
CFO. Don't tell me
yes.
what God won't do. God
Tell
will.
me. Absolutely.
God
Absolutely.
will elevate you. Now I'm sorry, I just had to go on and give
Thank
you
I
your
you.
was
flowers
You know, it's
for
funny. I appreciate that because sometimes you just kind of skirt over your journey as if it's like, oh, just another day. But
yeah,
I
no, it's
really
not.
have to look back and be proud of that because it's not a easy feat. And sometimes, especially as women, even if we work hard, you may not always get there, right? Because of all
Mhm.
the other barriers. Some of these barriers are just life's barriers, people barriers,
Yeah.
just negative spirits, negative influence. But by God's grace, I was able to stay on my path and get there because it was always a goal of mine. And I
Yes.
have to tell you, ladies, a lot of times I didn't believe in myself. Even now, I'm dealing with a little bit of limiting beliefs, but I'm
Yeah,
learning to invest in myself and I'm going on a whole different trajectory, but I'm letting the spirit, lead me. I invested in myself, get a life coach,
yeah,
reaffirm myself, make
yeah.
sure I know that I am capable. I do have everything that I need. And that's also what I try to help other women with as well. So I thank you so much for allowing me to take that pause
Yes.
and really acknowledge that because it wasn't an easy feat and I am really proud. And it's funny because I've never said that out loud, that I'm proud of myself, because I have this
Look
thing
at
Oh,
of
God.
feeling like you shouldn't brag or I don't
Right.
celebration.
know.
Trust me,
Yes.
we understand. We understand. Trust me,
Yes.
we've been there too. And this is your journey. It's time. It's
Yes. Yes.
time. It's time. And embrace
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Brag
Absolutely.
on yourself. It's okay
Thank
to
you.
clap your own hands
Yeah.
with your two hands that God graced you with.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
am so thankful that you had the opportunity to say it out of your mouth. Not,
Yeah.
Yes.
people tell you all the time, I'm proud of you. I'm sure people
Right.
say proud. But when you can say, I'm proud of you, is another way of saying, I love you. I love
Absolutely.
you because,
Right.
and I'm proud of you and I accept you and I'm thankful for you.
You
Yeah.
guys are going to make me emotional.
No, seriously.
It's amazing.
And
Thank
you
you.
deserve
Thank you
it
so much.
because do you know how many, when people apply for jobs, especially in the
Right.
C suite, men will see something and they'll just go for it, whether they
Right.
know the information or not. It's like they jump out the plane and figure it out on the way down.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Women, we overthink. We'll look at them like, yeah, they put that sentence in there, and I don't really know how to. I'm not really qualified. I'm not
Yeah.
really sure how to do. And we will overthink
Yes.
ourselves out of
Any,
major accomplishments.
Yes.
And the fact
Absolutely.
that you're there, and not only there, but that you felt like you didn't have support. And I was
Right.
talking to a lady yesterday, and we were talking about how important support is. Because
Yes.
a lot of times, if you don't have it, it
Right.
makes you just sit down on a bench and you're like, well, nobody's here to support me. So
Right.
maybe I'm not good enough. But the
Yeah.
fact that you have put yourself in a position where other people can really say, Marlene is out here doing a
Yeah.
doggone thing. And if she can
yeah,
be a CFO,
Right.
imagine what we can do. We don't have
yeah.
to
Yes.
really settle for that
Right.
because that means that you can break that glass ceiling. And you
Mm.
have, and
Exactly.
you did. And you didn't just stop there, baby. You went on to say you did your own business. So what's this business that you got going on?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great, great pivot there. And what ended up happening is part of some of those barriers that I dealt with on my way, to the CFO seat, had a great deal to do with infertility. And women are already tasked with, just in society and in general, we're tasked with the family responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine, when I was younger and didn't have kids, I'm working all these hours, I'm doing all this stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, great, no problem. So you add in the caretaker responsibility on that, and then to have to deal with someone who's dealing with infertility, that was
Yeah.
just like, double whammy. Because
Mm.
with infertility, it's one of those journeys that no one asked for. You don't want to
Right.
be in the pool of infertility. And when you're in the midst of that journey, you don't know what the other side is going to look like. You don't know if you'll find success. You don't know, and then what is
Yeah.
success? Because starting a family for one person may look one way, but it may end up looking a different way for someone else. So you're navigating this uncharted territory and just not knowing what's going to happen. And in the meantime, you're trying to perform at work. You're trying to be the best daughter. You're trying to be the best friend. You're trying to be, the best sister, sibling, whatever. But you're dealing with this unspoken sadness and shame and want that you just can't seem to
Right.
have, and no one knows about it, right? So you're
Right.
walking around with a mask while you're
Mhm.
trying to do all these other things.
Uh-huh.
So, infertility is something that, again, my husband and I didn't count on. I met my husband a long time ago. We're celebrating our 23 years of marriage this year. So we're
Yeah.
super, super excited about that. And when I met my husband, he had my big son. I call him my big son, Richard. He's my bonus son. He was a little bit younger than 2 when I met him. He's still with me. He's here to this day with us. That's my baby. I always say that he's the kid that didn't give me any labor pains. So
Right.
it was rough. It was rough because we want to grow the family,
Right.
expand while also trying to deal with all these other things that you want to do. You got your marriage, you're trying to buy a house, you're trying to live, right, and enjoy
Right.
each other. So fast forward a little bit, after about 10 years of trying, my husband and I, we agreed and we wanted to do IVF, which was the next step for us. And back then, this was 2011, it kind of, although we were in modern times, it still wasn't as prevalent, right, as people speak about it now, in a sense
Right.
that even now there's still some stigma around it, but back then, forget it. So we try IVF, and our luck, and by the grace of God, we do end up getting pregnant the first after the first round. But unfortunately, I ended up having to deliver our daughter at 22 weeks and 1 day, and she didn't survive. So imagine trying for 10 years, all the shots, all the surgeries,
Mhm.
all the procedures, finally find what you deem is success, just to have that ripped away in just such a traumatic, it was just the most horrific experience ever. And one of the things I always take out of that particular experience is I delivered this baby, my body had a baby, and yet I'm leaving the hospital with a purple box, no baby, right? And
Mhm.
it's horrible. And then you go home and
Yeah.
deal with the aftermath of that. And not only are you dealing with that physically and mentally, emotionally, God and I were having a spat, like we went back and forth for a long time. And then
Mhm.
you still then have to just keep going because life doesn't stop just because you experienced this horrible thing. So deadlines still needed to be met at
Yeah.
work. Your family and friends still need you to show up for them.
Mhm.
I'm navigating this relationship with my husband. Like, what does this all mean? Like, it's just horrible. And not to mention the negative impact it has on me as a woman, because now you're feeling even more less than, you're
Mhm.
feeling more incapable. And then that self-doubt starts to really, it's always there, right? Especially with
Yep.
me, but now it's in the forefront, or is seemingly in the forefront because of this
Mhm.
negative thing that you have no control over. So it's part of the business. Just to add in that I ended up writing a book because I said by the time my journey was over, I said, okay, I have to be able to share my story and help someone. And I'm going to tell you, ladies, that no one in my family, none of my friends knew until I released the book. No one
Wow.
knew.
Oh.
No one knew.
Wow.
So it to walk around with that for so long, and just to kind of give a little bit of the ending so we can go back after we lost our daughter. I don't know how, but between God, therapy, everything, we ended up trying again.
Mhm.
And we delivered twin boys. Their names are Kason and Camden.
Look
We
at
just
that
called,
double for your trouble.
so
Yes.
I can plug them too. I wrote a book on their, for
Oh,
them. We
so
ended up
cute.
delivering them, yeah, Kason and Camden, and they had a 4-month NICU stay because they were born extremely early at
Uh-huh.
26 weeks and 1 day, but they're perfect, they're thriving, thank goodness for that. And after that, we ended up
Good
having our
job.
little one, KB.
Wait a
Come on
I
minute.
now.
wrote a book in honor of him too. He's our rainbow baby. Okay. So I have two
Oh,
children's books out of this. Who would have thought? I was barely had the strength and the stamina to write the first book, and then I ended up writing children's books, which ended up taking me on a totally different trajectory. So even after writing the book, I said, well, what else can I do? I have to be able to help more people. And that's kind of sort of how Miss Regina and I met. I started my journey of public speaking, where I said, okay, I want to be able to go on stages, tell my story, help inspire women, letting you know, you can have everything. It may not happen how you want it. It may not happen when you want it, but
Mhm.
just stay steadfast and be open to what different options also come to you. Because when you start off on a journey, some people may say, well, I don't want to do IVF, or I don't want to adopt,
Right.
or I'm not going to do surrogacy. You never open your mouth and say what you're never going to do, because you just don't know, what life is going to throw at you. So you may decide differently, but you have to be open. You have to allow the different options and the different things to come into your atmosphere, so you can figure out and make a educated decision on what it is that you really want and how you want to accomplish it. So now in my business, I help women and men and couples who are on their fertility journey as a fertility coach. So I really love that.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, the other side of me is the professional side, the executive side. So I also help women with their confidence, building resilience, coaching them through being able to, if they want that promotion at work, if they want to be able to ask for that raise, I help coach them on the career side as well, on how to be able to get what they want when it comes to, their professional life. So there's a lot. And then the last thing I'm going to add, because I'm so excited and you're about to make me cry, so I'm going to make sure I say it,
You
because I
bad
cried
mama,
last night,
baby.
was
Hey,
Yes.
mama. Yes.
yes, I went back to school for my doctorate, and for December was 4 years. So I'm literally about less than 2 months away from defending my dissertation. And I'm super excited. And it's amazing because, it's one of those things where my doctorate is going to be in organizational leadership. And then I chose my research topic on myself, in the sense of my experience, because I
Right.
know so many women can relate. So my topic, it's never been done before. It's one of its kind, groundbreaking, which just means it's the foundation for more
Groundbreaking.
research to come. Yes.
Come
And
on,
it's about,
trailblazer.
Trailblazer.
She
yes,
Come
just
on,
keep
Trailblazers,
rushing
Sagittarius.
yes.
yes.
through.
Let me tell you,
Groundbreaking.
yes, and I'm saying that more out loud too, because my chairperson was so intrigued. And it's about the lived infertility experiences of
Yes.
women in leadership roles. And yes,
Ooh,
leadership has been studied. Yes, infertility has been studied, but never coupling the
Yep.
two,
yes.
because, real people are dealing with this. Real women
Yes.
who also want to have a career are dealing with this. So what does that look like for them? So I'm super, super, super excited, and that's kind of sort of what I have going on right now. I know that was a long answer, but
No, it was
just a little
beautiful.
bit of
It
everything.
was the
Yeah.
absolute perfect answer. And the
Thank
thing
you.
about it, Marlene, we're talking about Women's History Month. And for
Yeah.
you to be on here trailblazing with something that has not been done before, that's
Yes.
groundbreaking,
Yes.
that's why you never know who you're coming across when you meet
Yes.
somebody at a networking event, when you're just
Yeah.
chatting to somebody about something. People never know who crosses their path.
Yes.
That's why
Exactly.
networking is so important,
Yes.
because people have something inside of them, and it is that what is they say, that fortitude
Yes.
inside of
Yes.
you to keep going even
Yeah.
when you're breaking inside,
Yes.
losing your
Yes.
baby, when you've been praying for, been work,
In
going
years.
through all that to take those treatments.
Yes.
Because baby, let's just go and put it out there. Infertility treatments are not easy, and they're
No.
not cheap. It's
They're
a lot
not.
of money and a lot of
Yes.
pain that goes along with it. People
Yes.
who are able to have natural births, you just think of the pain of maybe, cramps and swelling
Right.
and all
Yeah.
this stuff, and labor pain. I'm
Right.
talking about all the injections and all of the
Yeah.
Yes.
things you got to, look at your chart, and you got to do all these different things to make
Yes.
sure it's just a good time. And it's very detailed and painstaking to
Yes.
get to that point before you even get to the
Mm-hmm.
part of
Yes.
conceiving and saying, okay, now let's go through the process
Yes.
of having the baby.
Exactly.
So to deal with all of that and run somebody's business, dealing with financials, look, because it's one
Yes.
thing, look, we can say what we want to, dealing with numbers and making sure that all those things
Everything lines
line up.
up.
People are coming to
Yes.
you and count on you to make sure they have a return on their
Absolutely.
investment. Those are some
Absolutely.
heavyweight
Yes.
things to deal with, but you're able to still deal with the other side that
Yes.
nobody knew about until you wrote the book. So that means you didn't
Yes.
even have the support of other people
No.
saying,
No.
girl, let me take
It's
you out for a minute
okay.
and help you get your mind. You're trugging along, dealing with your
Yes.
husband and how he feels,
Yep.
dealing
Mm-hmm.
with how
Yeah.
you feel, handling
Yes.
other people's business, being there for everybody else. That's a lot.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it
And to
is.
add
It is
to
a
that,
lot.
she has a bonus son. They
Yeah,
already have a child that they can't
right.
ignore him. You can't
Nope.
ignore,
Right.
you can't be like, well, we're going through some things right now.
That's
So
Yeah.
good.
pause. You can't
Right?
they couldn't pause his life. So
No,
Right.
he still had to be mama and daddy.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, we were the three musketeers. We did everything together. He was young, so he didn't understand a lot of this
yeah.
until
Right,
like
Mm-hmm.
right,
maybe
right.
now, because he's part of. It's so funny. I had my third annual vision event earlier this year in January, and the whole it's a women's event, but the entire crew were men. So my husband, my big son, because he's big now, but him, my husband, my brothers, my husband brothers, and just to see how they come out and support us. And he's like, "No, Marlene, I've watched your grind from when I
Yeah.
was little." And he's
Mm-hmm.
following in my footsteps. He went and got an accounting degree.
There
He's
you go.
working in finance now. You know, he always tells me about how I inspire him. So he's my
Mm.
baby. So it's
Good.
like it's one of those things where even with the youth, you never know what kind of impact you
Yep.
make on them, because all they see is, even if they don't understand, all they see is this adult in their life, which happens to be their mom, their dad, whoever is
Mhm.
pushing through. They're always trying to do the right thing, but
Yes.
we
Yeah.
also have to do it with grace because the children are watching. And a lot
Yeah.
of people take that for granted or don't
They
realize that, but they really
Yes, they
really are.
are.
they're watching. But
Hmm.
what you sowed into him though, that
Yeah,
seed that you
Yeah.
sowed to keep pushing despite what it looks like, despite what it
exactly.
feels like, despite it all, I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah.
And how God came back. Yes, the first one, it looked like it wasn't the plan in God's plan. And
Plan,
God said,
right.
don't count me out.
Exactly.
Hold on. I still know the plans I have for you.
For
I
you,
have
yes,
plans for
Mm.
you.
yes.
I know that this don't seem like it. So he came back and said,
Yeah.
I'ma show her, I'ma show them that I still got an awesome plan for their life. And then
He
Yeah.
it's like,
does.
And you know what? Let me tell you something, Marlene. I'm just saying, and I knew, you know what? I knew without a doubt this was going to happen. I just didn't know when. And I'm so
Yes,
thankful for listening to the Most High God. And
absolutely.
you are beautiful. You are beautiful. Your
Thank you.
strength. You stood in strength in your silence. Did you hear what I said
Mm-hmm.
earlier? You
Yes,
stood
Mm.
in strength in your silence. That means that your spirit spoke for you.
absolutely.
And the people that
Yeah,
are going to be connected to you are already going to recognize that, sweetheart. You're going to walk into rooms that, you know what, your presence alone,
thank you.
your journey where you came from and to where
Mm.
you are now,
Yeah.
you know how powerful that is?
I'm
That's
taking it in. I
amazing.
have to
It's
say it out
amazing.
loud. So I appreciate you ladies so much, because the
Yes.
goal in life is to help others. However you can pour back into
Yes.
Yes.
others. And even though the golden rule is do unto others as you would want them to do unto you,
Uh-huh.
you actually feel complete.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you hear a lot about people who, let's put it out there, have everything, they can do everything, but they're
Mm-hmm.
not complete. They're not happy.
That's
And
right.
True.
the older I get, I'm starting to realize like my love language is helping. Even if
Mm-hmm.
it's something on Amazon, just something silly, and I'm doing it and one of the kids come, or my husband or my mom told me about something. I'm like, oh, okay, well, let me get it for them first because I can wait. And you don't want to take it to the extreme of self-deprecation, so to speak, but this just that's what makes me
Yeah.
happy, like giving and helping
Yeah.
others. So I'm happy I was
Mm-hmm.
able to get out of that fear box and share my story and stand
Right.
as inspiration and motivation for not only the next generation to come, but for my peers, for people around me. And it's amazing too, because a lot of what I do focuses on women. And I was shooting a commercial for my book a couple years ago, and there was a whole production team and things like that. And they met with me, and it was two gentlemen, and they sat and we talked about some stuff. They let me answer some questions, and then they were just looking, and I'm like, oh, well, did I, what happened? Did I miss something? And they both just looked at each other and then looked at me, and they're like, I love how you're empowering women without bashing the men. I said, oh no, we need the
Mm.
men, honey.
We need
They
the
have a
men,
role
honey.
too.
You better tell them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because he says he's dealt so much and seen so much, and they're a
Wow.
little older than me, like my parents'
Yeah.
generation. And they're like, when women try to promote women, they bash the men. And it's not even about men having to be included. He just wanted to share that with me because that's what
Wow.
Mhm.
he saw also
Awesome.
in speaking with me and what
Mhm.
message I was trying to get out.
Awesome.
So it just makes you feel like, okay, at the end of the day, we're here as a collective to help each other. And I know it sounds cliche. I know it sounds weird. And, people make it hard. Don't get it twisted. People are crazy. People are,
Mhm.
I don't mean crazy
Mhm.
like crazy, but some people are
Yeah.
selfish. Some
Yeah,
people,
they
are
Yes.
self-centered, but you have to figure out a way to push through because that is ultimately one of our goals here in life is to help each other as best as we can.
Absolutely. Muhammad Ali, I believe, said that service is our rent for being here
uh,
on earth. And it
Yes.
should be to do something for others. And the
yeah,
beautiful
Right.
thing, Marlene, is that, people who, if you believe God and you read the Bible and you look at Job, you
Yes.
had a Job-like experience of going through life
Oh,
and
wow.
losing, but God brought you not
Yeah.
one, but two babies
Right.
when you
mm,
came back and you were able to give birth, and then came
Yeah.
back and gave you another baby. So the
Yes.
thing about it is, if you stop when things are hard, look at what you could have missed out on. What if you had said, I'm
woo,
never going to do this again? But you still stay strong and say, you know what? Hey, give me a minute. I ain't
Yes.
ready to go right now, but give me a minute. But when I come
Yes.
back, like Shakari Richardson said, I'm back, but I'm
Yes.
better. I'm better mentally to
yes,
handle what
Correct.
we're getting ready to go through because I know that had to be scary to put yourself in a situation again where that could happen again.
It
But
was
you,
it was frightening, but I had to keep the faith. I said, and I didn't know one of you. I think it was you, Miss Regina, that said you just don't know what's on the other side,
right,
but you're blindly going because your faith just has to get you through,
right,
right? You're doing your part, and what I loved about my IVF and infertility experience too, so much times or so many times people put their faith or all their reliance on man, right?
yeah,
mm,
yeah,
And science or what have you. And I believe that a mix of both, a perfect blend of both is what we need because the
mm-hmm,
medical profession, my goodness, that's just unheard of. But I had doctors, okay, that in the operating room, when we're ready to do our embryo transfers, my doctor said, Marlene, you've done your part. Kevin's, you've done your part. We've done our part. There's nothing else we can do. The rest is up to the man above. That's it. And to hear men of science
exactly,
even take that step back and acknowledge,
yes.
it's like you have to do what you can, put your work in, and pray about it too.
yeah,
Because God will talk to you, and you may not
yes,
get the answers right away or all at once, but do your part, and then the rest will just fall into place how it should.
yes, yes, it
Come
will.
Mhm.
on, Marlene is giving gems, honey, dropping
Yes,
wisdom, letting you know what's going on in life.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
the thing about it is, you're a beautiful example. You know what I'm
yes,
saying? Like,
Thank you.
it's something about your spirit that is so soothing and calm, but so
Thank you.
bossed up at the same time. And
Yes.
so,
Yes.
for people like these men who, spoke to you and said, you're empowering women, but you're not bashing men, it's
right,
Mhm.
because you have a generous spirit about
Yes.
you that makes people feel like they're included. And
Yes.
I don't think people understand how important it is because
yes,
we're separated by so much sometimes,
yeah,
by the color of your skin, by how much money you have. People will separate you and feel like, oh, you're not good enough to be over here or
right,
you're not part of this. But it's something about you that wants to include people so that they feel valued and appreciated.
Absolutely.
And
right,
that's on a whole different level of life and letting people know that, hey, no matter what, I'm here. And sometimes we need to. I love the fact that you
right,
created that infertility group to help people because
Yeah.
sometimes we just need to know, like, what do I expect? And most people,
Exactly.
because it's fear.
yes,
If you don't know what's on the other side, you're so scared. But if
Yeah.
you've got somebody who's been there and done that and shares it with you, it takes the edge off a little bit. Okay, so Marlene said that this is what's going to happen. And when that happens, you're like, oh, okay, well, she said what's going to happen. So I can
Exactly.
breathe now. It People don't realize how much of
right,
a difference that makes. It's everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It really says a lot because no matter what, too, because we're humans, we need and we thrive on companionship and
Mhm.
relatability and
yes,
knowing that you're not alone in every
yes,
sense of the word. And one of the things I can say, and I thank you so much for saying that, Miss Angela, is like, even at the expo or whenever I get off of stage, one of the comments I always get is, I'm relatable. You know, finally someone that resembles them and can relate to what they're going through. So having that conversation with them, it just hits a little different versus
Mhm.
just sharing with random people. So that sense
Right.
of unity and relatability and inclusion really helps make a difference, even in people's mental, so that they
Mhm.
can be equipped to say, okay, now I'm ready to push forward, because they know, push come to shove, someone else that's been there that understands can also relate, and then they're not alone with that. Because it's such
Yeah.
a difficult situation to be dealing with infertility and appointments and, what ifs, and your mind is going everywhere, and to not have someone you can talk to. And it's funny because there were a couple friends I know I could speak with, but you also feel like you're a burden, because you're like, okay, well, they didn't go through it. Do they care? Do they want to really know? And how,
Right.
okay,
Mhm.
they allow me a one conversation, but every time we meet up, we're going to talk about this. Like, that's not fair to them, is what I was thinking. And I'm sure
Yeah.
other women who go
Right.
through it feel the same way, because the participants in my research were all women executives, women leaders,
Yeah.
and they shared those same sentiments. And we were from everywhere in the United States, these women that I spoke with for my research. And to see how their emotion and their experience just spilled out on my page of transcripts. When my
Mhm.
chairperson was reading it, he doesn't really get emotional, but he was like, this is beyond amazing. Then we have to do
Mhm.
something to help this cause, because it's not going to go away.
Yes.
And this
Right.
is only in the US. So imagine globally, 1 in 6 people are impacted globally by infertility. And when you really break
Mhm.
that down, you're in the shopping, you're going grocery shopping, you're in the grocery line. A lot of times there's between 3 and 7 people in line.
Wow.
1 in 6 of them, right, are
Mm.
dealing with this. It's a
Wow.
phenomenon. A lot of people are going through it. So just learning to be kind, embrace one another, help one another, and be there for each other, because you just never know.
You never know. And this is
Mhm.
the thing, once you go through something traumatic like that, you have to know that when you get to a place where what you prayed for you have,
Yeah,
we gotta learn how to be more appreciative of
Yes.
life
exactly.
and who's in our life and what do we have in life, because it's people who are praying for it, and
Exactly.
they're struggling to get it, but you have it and you don't think anything about it because you're just blasé going through life. Every day we got to stop and be grateful because
Yeah,
you just never know. You may have been praying for something, and when you get it, embrace it and
exactly.
thank
Yes.
God for it, because it could be the other way around. And so
Hmm.
the fact that you're here again, Women's History Month, showing out, giving us this
Yes.
story, but also telling us about, honey, the upcoming Dr. Marline C. Duroseau. Baby, listen, honey, that's
Yes.
amazing and
Yes.
phenomenal.
Thank
Sorry to
you.
hit the bell, but yes, every day celebrate the amazing,
Yes.
phenomenal woman that you are and the
Thank you.
Yes.
inspiration. Because what Kendrick Lamar said, you can't fake influence, baby, and you
No, you
are
can't fake
influential.
influence.
You
That's
cannot
right.
fake. And that's who
Yeah.
you are. You are an influential individual. And we
Yes.
are more than happy and glad to have you on the Empowered Morning Show because I know
Thank
what you
you.
shared has empowered somebody in some way, whether that's your journey with infertility or not, whether it's your
Yeah.
journey to pursue your doctorate degree or not. It's
Yes.
something inside of the story she shared that should give you, like you
Yes.
said, you help women with confidence, to give
Yeah.
you the confidence to show up strong and be a trailblazer in your
Yes.
own right, in your
Ab-
own field, in your own lane. Take what
Absolutely.
Marlene has said and let it fuel you for your life. That's where we at.
Absolutely.
Marlene, we are, honey, that 30 minutes go by fast. We already at 38. But before you
Ah,
get off of here,
Yes.
what do you want to share with people? And then, of course, let them know how they can get in contact with you and follow you and purchase the books and all of those things.
Absolutely. I love to share my MCD principles, and that is everyone out there, women, men, children, be motivated. That's the M. You have to
mhm.
be motivated, because sometimes we're going to wake up and not want to do stuff, but you have to think about the bigger picture and
Mhm.
let that drive you to keep going. So definitely be motivated, be courageous,
Mhm.
because so many things are scary. The unknown is scary. Even if you're doing what you know, the anticipated result is scary. But guess what? Do it anyway. You got it. And if you don't do it, you'll never know. So be courageous. And finally, be dynamic. A lot of times, life's
Mm,
experiences tend to strip you of yourself. You end up going into a shell and you
Yeah.
can't show up as yourself because of all of the other things that you're going through. So, like I was saying before, you put that mask on and you're faking it till you make it.
Yeah.
No, be dynamic, be authentic, be yourself, because you are more than whatever these things are that are plaguing you. Okay, so be
mhm.
motivated, be courageous, be dynamic. And yes, you can go to my website, mcdbe.com, here on the screen. Everything about me is there. You can purchase the books from there as well. And also, you can follow me on Instagram, which is at mcdbe, just like the website. Thank you so very much again for
Thank
having me.
you. We appreciate it.
Come on, listen, and stop playing. She didn't gave us these words, but y'all know that's her initials as well.
Yes,
I love that. That is so good. Cynthia said,
yes.
awesome, baby. You have showed out, and we are so impressed. And I'm so
Thank you.
excited about what God is doing for you. So we
Yes.
gotta
Thank
make
you.
sure we bring you back again
Yes.
because I'm
Yes,
telling you,
absolutely.
it is something about
Yes.
just having women on who are just doing some positive great things. And all of us can tap in, all of us can be inspired. And your story, honey, we all cheering because we are part of it, because we're
Yes.
getting to
Thank you.
witness what you're getting ready to do as a trailblazer, groundbreaking with this
Thank you.
dissertation. I'm so excited. Congratulations in
Thank
advance
you
because I
so
know you're gonna
much.
knock it out the park. And you said you got how
Thank
much more
you.
time?
Maybe about less than 2 months. I just got
Okay.
one chapter. My last chapter was approved. So now we're working on putting on all the finishing touches on everything. So I'm super excited. Super,
Yes.
super excited.
Yes, listen.
Amazing.
Congratulations again. Regina, you got anything
Thank
else?
you.
Look, Dr. Sparkle, honey, has been
I
struggling, but
know.
she
You know
said,
what? I thank you. I
give
thank
her
you.
thanks and love to you,
Yes.
Marlene.
Yes,
She
thank
really
you.
is. She
Thank you,
sent you a
Dr.
message
Sparkle.
already.
Yes.
Go ahead, Regina. I'm
No,
sorry.
I just want to thank you honestly for blessing us with your presence, and
Thank you.
you really empowered us, and
Thank
that was
you.
what it was. You empowered us, and we're excited. And like Angela said, you will be asked to come on again. I even want to bring you on to Sacred Healing because you're
Yes.
in that fertility where we could talk about the womb, you know,
Yes.
and that would be very powerful for women too as well. But I thank you
Absolutely.
again.
Thank you. Thank you so very much again. Thank you to all of the audience, the guests. Thank you for your positive messages. It really, really is inspiring me to definitely keep going. So I really, really appreciate you ladies pouring into me today because you just don't know how much that has helped me today. Thank you so
Yes,
very much.
yes.
You are welcome, honey. Y'all better go ahead for Dr. Marlene, baby. Let's see a total package, baby. Beauty and brains and compassion and generosity of spirit. So, honey,
Thank
come on,
you.
total package. Listen,
Thank
we
you.
love
Thank
it.
you
We
so
love it. We love
much.
it. Okay, I know Miss Phyllis already gave us the run past a truly a blessing and to go back. Parika said it's so awesome. Thanks so much for coming on. You are a blessing, Marlene.
Thank
Miss
you.
Phyllis,
Yes.
we know you already gave us the benediction. So hey, I believe God. Do
I
you
believe
believe
God.
God? Because we
We
believe God.
believe
Listen,
God.
trust
Yes,
God because you don't know He has plans for you. If you just stay the course, you can see it come to fruition. But thank
absolutely.
y'all, Marlene. Have a beautiful and amazing rest
You
of the
too.
day.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much. Thank you.
y'all be
Thank you.
blessed. Bye.